We are back. Coach Kim Griffin here. We are going to tackle all of the obstacles and challenges that you have with your fitness, just not all of them today. So today we're going to tackle two of them. We're going to talk about weekend sabotage and social situations, how to navigate that. And the next one is why motivation fails, how we don't want to hang our hat on that. Coach Kim, I'm going to pass the torch to you to start this thing off. Let's start with the weekend sabotage and social situations. Before we started this, we said summer's coming, way more
Yeah.
get-togethers. It's a great, great topic. Um, Chime in when you hear that. What's your I know you got a lot of ammo on this one, but let me hear.
Well, I think when it comes to anything weekend, you have to have a plan of what you want to accomplish. And there's no wrong answer here. But if you're going into the weekend without a game plan at all, it's a, I think of it as a really easy excuse for you not to have to follow anything. And then you can start back up again on Monday. If you have a plan, then we can just align your actions with your plans and your goals. But uh, getting in those social situations when you're out in public more, they're always about food, they're always about drinking, they're always about that kind of stuff. So you have different obstacles, but you got to decide first and foremost, what do you want? What do
Yeah.
you want to accomplish on the weekend? And then it's really easy to kind of go, okay, well, if you want X, then we have to do this. If you want Y, then we do this. If you want Z, then we do this. But get clear on what the heck you actually want to accomplish. And most people don't. They want to fly around by the seat of their pants. And like I said, I think it's an easy way to let yourself off the hook for doing the hard work on the weekends. And I think it's tougher on the weekends because you don't have those tight reins that you do Monday through Friday where you have that set schedule. And we're
Yeah.
usually not out on patios and boats and pontoons and cabins. I've been hearing the cabin. Um, but we can, and it's not about perfect, but if you don't have a plan at all, I just think it's a really easy way for you to have the excuse to go, didn't plan, I'll just start again on Monday, which gets really old and really frustrating. It's never going to get you to your goals.
I mean, this one ties really together with the next thing we're going to talk about with motivation. I will say I don't like to hang my hat on motivation. I do like to use it a little bit, but when you can create some really good weekends and you can feel so good going into Monday, your sleep is better, your work is better, you're more engaged, you're not living in kind of regret because everyone regrets how they ate or how they drank once it's over, right? Like living in the moment. I heard something so funny. It was talking about, like you said, weekend sabotage. Like, so you need to know this. When you're going to lose weight, you're going to be a little bit hungry. Like that's just how it is. So
Yeah.
I heard this quote the other day. It says, listen, you've been full for the last 15 years every day. Let's just focus on 15 weeks of being a little hungry. And I thought that was so funny because yeah, people they think it tastes so
Next
good.
24 hours.
What's that?
Let's just focus on the next 24 hours of being, and not talking starving while you want to chew your right arm off.
Yeah.
We're talking about, just not eating what you've always done.
Right. And so like we talked about when you eat foods that are going to be lower in fat. So here's a weekend plan. Eat foods that are lower in fat because your volume is going to be way, way higher. So if you're at the cabin, bring a chicken breast to throw on the grill instead of that ribeye steak. You can eat 2 or 3 times that. Have a
Mm-hmm.
salad, like lettuce salad. Don't have a pasta salad because a cup of that's going to be like 300 calories,
Yep.
right? Even just little things like if you're someone that feels like they need to have a drink, like have a drink, but then sprinkle it in with bubblies or other things, or put it in the go-to that I always had was putting your whatever you're drinking, a water or flavored water or whatever it is, like put it in like a Stanley or something. And then people don't really ask you about it. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Um, but you have to go on a plan with you have to go into your weekend with a plan. And so what happens more often than not is people have this bad set of days. And then what they try to do is they try to make up for it afterwards. So Monday, they try to cut their calories low. They try this crazy cleanse. They try not eating throughout a day. How about this? How about you earn yourself that weekend? How about you take 2, 3, 400 calories off a day, Monday through Friday? Now you got 1,600, 2,000 calories banked up, and you can let a little bit more loose. So if you're going to want to do that, plan during the week to earn it. Then you can go do those things without guilt, without feeling guilty because you're following the game plan. And success with weight loss is following the game plan. It's not going to be perfect because eating an extra 2,000 calories over the weekend isn't perfect. But when you make that plan long term, that's going to be perfect.
And I would also say that a lot of people, they start with that first choice of, and if that first choice isn't fantastic, and I had sent out a TikTok about, what is a healthier breakfast? And one was like an egg with, I don't know, spinach in it. And the other one was like a piece of white bread with that chocolate peanut butter Nutella or whatever on it. And you can look at it and go, okay, this one's healthier. But then behind that, they stacked, the chicken and the broccoli and the salad in the water, and behind the healthy breakfast they stack the junk food in the candy and the all, and so one choice, don't let that dictate your entire freaking weekend. If you
Yeah.
if your lunch you go a little bit off plan, eat a better dinner. You don't have to wait until the very next day. Just look for your very next choice. And I think this is where that, and people like to talk about that, but I'm a perfectionist, and I got to do everything perfect. And I used to say that about myself until I heard what that actually was. And it is it's you're literally procrastinating doing the work. So a perfectionistic attitude of I have to do it perfect, it's a great excuse for procrastination. And I heard that and I'm like, I'm never going to use that terminology to describe myself again, because I never want to be a procrastinator of any kind. But you don't have to be perfect on this. You do
Well,
not.
I mean, I've had a lot of people say that to me as well. And a lot of these people that tell me this are 20, 30, 50, 60 pounds overweight. So I want to say, or I'm going to say it now, you're not a perfectionist because if you were, we wouldn't be in this situation. Right. And so if you can be a perfectionist for an hour, a week, a month, like that ain't a perfectionist.
No,
So it's a label that I don't think it doesn't serve you. I think it hurts you.
hold you back.
It also puts up limiting beliefs in what you can tackle. So if you even
Hmm.
if you say to yourself, every time I go to the cabin, I have to get, I have 10 drinks and I eat bad, that's you programming that into your head that is telling you can do that. And then what you're going to feel is like, well, then I can't have any fun. I can't do that. But what if you say, I'm going to go to the cabin. I'm going to bring my own food, right? I'm going to bring the drinks that I want to drink. I'm going to go out on the boat. I'm going to be under the sun. I'm going to play volleyball. I'm going to watch my kids do all this. Like those things can sound really fun. Those things certainly sound fun to me.
Yeah.
Wrap your weekend around the things that you really want to enjoy, right? I don't have any regrets in my life where I didn't drink during a party, right? I
It's
don't think back like, man, 3 years ago when I was getting ripped muscular, not ripped drinking. When my neighbors were having all those cocktails and it was tempting, I don't look back and think, man, I wish I would have had that. I don't, and you won't either.
right.
So stay disciplined, stay focused, go in with a game plan that week beforehand. And a lot of these people, like this came from Stacy. Stacy has baseball. They're baseball weekends where you're sitting at a field for 4, 6, 8 hours. Sometimes it's an entire weekend. Pack your lunches, pack a
Yep.
cooler, bring your drinks, stay hydrated. When you're hydrated, you're less inclined to eat garbage because oftentimes dehydration will feel like hunger pains and it's not.
And I would also add to this, there is a lot of fear about pushback from the people you're hanging with. I've had a few conversations
Yeah.
this week about that in particular and about how to navigate that. And the first question I ask is, are these people that support you? Because if they love and support you, I would get it out there the before going to the cabin. I would say, hey guys, I'm really trying to level up my health. I'm really trying to level up my fitness, and I need your help this weekend because this isn't always easy
Yeah.
to
And
be
get rid
around
of the
other
word,
people.
rid of the word trying when you're telling them that. I'm not trying to get fit.
I
I'm on a
am.
mission. I'm on a program. I'm
Yeah,
knocking this out of the park. And in any help and support you give me, I
it's
would
just going
love
to
it.
help them instead of you're going in there and awkward and you're trying to hide what you're actually doing. I say, man, be bold and put it out there, because the people that love and support you, they're going to be there. And now people love to help. So
Right.
now they're your cheerleaders, and you may plant that ripple effect. It's that ripple effect. All of a sudden they're looking at you, especially if you're the one that's looking great in that group.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody questions the person that's in amazing shape about what they're eating and drinking. Nobody questions that person.
And
Well,
then
of
more than
course,
likely,
look
they're
that
going to want to start doing what you're doing.
100%. So,
Quick
hey,
little, quick little story. And so Kathy, who Kim works with, who we have worked with, the biggest weight loss person we've ever had, down 150 pounds. Cool little story about her. Um, she was out to eat, and Coach Miranda, who is a big part of Legacy Fitness, saw her out at a restaurant, right? This is when Kathy was like probably a few months in. And Kathy brought her scale to the restaurant, right? And I've talked to Kathy about this, and Miranda was just like, wow, like very, very few people would ever do that, right?
yeah,
And I wouldn't do that. I've never done that. So people were like questioning it more so because like nobody sees it.
yeah,
But fast forward 50 pounds of weight loss, 75 pounds of weight loss, 100 pounds of weight loss. When she's bringing that in, nobody questioned it anymore.
no,
Just said, you look awesome. Like I
yeah,
love your discipline. Like it's sexy, it's attractive, it's really cool to see somebody that's committed and focused to something because it's just so inspiring. Like I'm big time inspired by people when they do things that push them out of their comfort zone and doing
absolutely.
things like that. And kind of saying, I don't really care what you have to say. You didn't say anything about me when I was out of shape. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care what you say about things I'm going to do when I'm getting into shape.
Be the trailblazer. Be the trailblazer.
Hope that helped. Why motivation fails and what actually works. We want to discuss the power of habits, identity shifts, and building some discipline instead of relying on motivation. I mean, big crossover between what we talked about. Kim, start us off.
Well, I just think motivation is super fickle, right? Motivation is that thing that gets you started, and then pretty soon you realize, oh shit, I can't eat and do everything that I used to be able to do. And tracking's not all that sexy. Oh my God, this isn't all that exciting. And then that newness and that excitement wears off. And that's where motivation just goes kaput. This is
Yeah,
where discipline comes in. You need an intrinsic motivator. Motivation is not, motivation is external, generally speaking. You need the intrinsic motivator, the one that's going to show up, the one that's going to get you out of the bed, the one that's going to get you to do the workouts. I mean, you and I talk about it all the time. Very few days am I like, oh, hell yeah, let's track our food and let's get the workout in, especially if it's cold or rainy and all those kinds of things. But it's that discipline. Check in on your why. If your why is not big enough and you do not have a crystal clear visual of who you are becoming, and if you can't even pull it up in your mind's eye, I think it's really hard to work hard for something that you can't visualize. It'd be like going to work and your boss saying you need to work really hard, and you're like, well, what am I working towards?
yeah,
And it's a lot more exciting and fun to work towards something that you really want. Doesn't feel like as much work to be disciplined. Discipline is doing what you need to do long past that feeling that got you started. When that disappears and goes away, you need the thing that's going to hold you steadfast to who you really truly want to become.
sure. I mean, the word itself is, I mean, I think people use it in such a goofy way. Like, I'm just not, so, you and I know, I'm the one that talks to everyone and gets them enrolled. That's kind of, and then I pass the baton to you. And more often than not, that's something that people bring up. Like, I'm just not motivated. And I say, um, do you feel like you're being a good example for your kids? No. Do you like the way you look in the mirror? No. How much weight do you want to lose? They answer. When was the last time you felt good? This. When's the next social event that you have coming up that you are going to be around people and you want to feel comfortable? They tell me. And I'm like, and those things aren't motivating for you, right? Like there's always motivation, right? Like you've just got to look at it. You got to try to find it. Like when I was fat, I was really motivated to Kate's gonna hear this, but I hated having fat sex. I hated it. Like I felt like this big whale with this hot wife, right? It was motivation for me to get out of that zone. It was motivation for me to be able to go swimming or go on my boat and not have people go, "Oh, you're a trainer," right? That was motivation for me. But
Yeah.
it's not, I wasn't always thinking about that. I wasn't, but when times were tough, when the struggle was real, when I didn't want to get up early, when I didn't want to eat the right food, I started pulling those things out from the back of my head and started thinking about what I really wanted. And the feeling of confidence, of feeling strong and powerful and disciplined, like that really gets me excited. I love talking about things that are challenges. I love talking about things that are difficult. I love comeback stories, and those
Okay.
are all worth it. And just like talking about your situation right now, you're in a situation right now, Kim, where you can't, you're physically unable to do these things, but I know that you're motivated because you see this version of yourself that you want to do. Like you and I have been digging up from the archives, old videos of where you were. And I just know for a fact you watched that. And that's so powerful for you to do your rehab, do all the things you need to do, because that's what
Yes.
you get to.
Yes. Oh my God. It's the only thing keeping me, you know, connected.
Yeah.
And it's, so whether or not you're looking forward or you're looking back and you're saying, I know I can do this because I've been there before. And I think the majority of our clients, they get past or they get to where they were before, thinking
Yeah.
that that was their top range of where they were going to go. And then we leave that in the dust. And that's where you hear the stories of, oh my God, this is like the best I've ever felt, not just in a lot of years, but ever in my life. And I think sometimes, I think the older I get, the things that I don't want to have happen, they're much more powerful of a motivator or that intrinsic motivator for me than when I was younger, because I know genetically what kind of runs in my family, and so I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that stuff.
Well, look, I mean, it doesn't take much to look into the future and just look around you. People that are unhealthy,
Mm-hmm.
their lives are pretty darn miserable, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you're unhealthy, the only thing that you're wishing for is for health.
Help.
The only thing,
Yep.
right? But we take it so for granted because we always push it off for tomorrow. I saw a shirt at a Timberwolves player was wearing this shirt. It said, what did it say? It said, yesterday was tomorrow. And
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool because, like, yeah, yesterday was the day you told yourself that you were going to start,
Yeah.
right? And it was just, I'm like, I don't even know who had it. It was a guy that was hurt and he was wearing the shirt. I'm like, oh, that's like the best quote I've heard in a long time or read in a long time.
Right.
And so
Right.
you got to have something that fires you up. But if you're not fired up to look better, if you're not fired up to actually feel good, if you're not fired up to go buy anything, my wife wants to shop at Walmart and buy jeans at Target, right? And she'll go out and people will go, I love those jeans. Where did you get them? And it's not the jeans that look good. She
Yeah.
looks good. And she's making those things look like, some boutique style jeans.
Yep.
So it's just, it's so, it's hard to almost put into words. It feels so good to be at your best. When your health is optimized, there's nothing better. I mean, nothing better.
Yeah. And just keep stacking those habits because once again, it's not about all or nothing, but when you start stacking those habits every single day, everything has that ripple effect.
Mhm.
And good habits, bad habits are all built in the exact same way by doing it day in and day out and schedule things, if and focus on the thing that you struggle with. When we level up our great things, the things that we're really good at, like if I'm great at water, getting a little bit more water in is not going to change my life as much as leveling up the thing where I struggle. So if I struggle with getting in my 3 workouts a week, maybe that's where I'm going to focus on. And it's not about doing all 7, 8, 10 things at once. You're going to start habit stacking those, and then that becomes a little bit easier, and keep kind of checking in on those areas. Is it protein? Is it tracking? Is it workouts? Where, because we don't rise to the level of our goals and wishes and dreams. We fall to the level of our processes, and motivation is not going to get you there. Schedule the things, really get concrete on having a plan of action for that week or for that day. Just get through the 24 hours and then do it the next day. And it may shift and stuff, but if you're relying on motivation to get you there, and keep you going, you're probably gonna stay swirling in that same area,
The last thing, and this is just my personal story. Like people have seen me with my shirt off more than they care to at this point. But I got addicted to looking and feeling good. Like that became almost like my drug. I craved doing the things that I knew made me feel better and look better because I had gotten to the point where I was so fat, I was so unhealthy, I felt so miserable that those things just felt normal after a while. Like I didn't even know that I felt bad because it was just every day in and day out. My sleep was always garbage. My clothes never fit. So it just started to feel normal. And when I started to change and I started to feel good, I wanted more. I wanted more. And when that happened, it became a really healthy, you can call it an obsession. And I think some people look at an obsession as a bad thing, but I don't think there's a bad thing about being obsessed with being a better version of you. I wanted to be a better dad. I wanted to be a better husband. I wanted to be a better coach. I wanted to look better with my shirt off. I wanted to be a better example for my kids. I wanted to help my friends who were struggling. I wanted to give people hope. And I became addicted to all those things. And when I became obsessed with the processes that it took to get there, man, it was easy. And I just did it day in and day out. And I kept feeling better and better. And more people were reaching out to us, asking us for help. And we started putting more pictures on the wall. And more people started telling us about how we changed their lives and how they've never looked like this and how their husband or their wife hadn't looked at them like this since they were dating when they were teenagers. And I got obsessed with starting to hear those stories. And that continued to push me and drive me to want to continue to be better because I saw that we were making a big freaking difference in our community. And I got no apologies about being obsessed about being and doing all those things.
Absolutely not. It's like, man, if that's the worst thing that people can say about somebody is, oh my God, they feel great in their own body and skin, then let them scream it. I don't care. Keep shining. That's what I say. Keep just, I think we need more of that. And you hit the nail on the head. Most people have no idea how good they can feel because they haven't felt great in forever. Whether it's not getting enough sleep or reducing your stress or just fueling your body with real food instead of a bunch of crap. You have no idea. And I know that you bring this up a lot. Do it for a few weeks. Don't do it for 2 days. You're not going to notice a whole lot in 2 days, but do it for 14. Give yourself and your body a freaking chance. You're not Amazon Prime. You're not going to get, boom, snap your fingers like TikTok videos. I mean, you don't show up like that, but you have to stack these days in a row and you got to get through the freaking weekends. And we're going to circle back to this weekend thing because this is where you're going to make the absolute most growth. And summer is way harder because we come out of hibernation and we feel like we deserve a prize because most of us live in Minnesota and we made it through another winter. And we just and certain things can be triggers, so watch out for it. Patios are a huge trigger for drinks, and if it is for you, maybe go on a picnic instead. Don't head to that. And if you don't have healthy food at the cabin, what's your options? It's what everybody else brings. It's a really easy out. It's like the dog ate my homework. Don't be that person. Set yourself up for success. And it's not about perfect and it's not about beating yourself up, but have a plan.
Execute the plan.
And execute the plan. But you need the plan in order to. My dad used to always say, a plan that's well thought out is already halfway done. And, if you don't have a plan, then you have to be okay with the ramifications of your choices. And I'll remind you of that if I hear that you walk.
Get obsessed. Get obsessed with yourself.
100%.
That because a lot of the people we work with, and I'll end on this, is you've put everyone else up here in terms of importance, in terms of attention, in terms of how much time and effort you give to these people. And I don't care if it's your spouse, your kids, your parents as they get older. But
Yep.
when you give and give and give and give and give and give and give, you've got this much energy left for yourself,
Yep.
right? And what you don't want is you don't want to put yourself in a position where down the road, you need your kids, you need your friends to get by because you can't do anything yourself.
Yep. 100%.
All right. Love you guys. Kick some butt. Coach Kim, you're the best.